All right, good afternoon, cyber traders. Welcome on back here this Tuesday, September 28th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, at this time of the day, welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Great to see all of our students and trial members alike. I see here Corey S., who had called out the AIKI stock. We got Patrick, Christopher M., Norman, all of our students and members alike, like I'd said just before. Great to see everyone. And if you're joining us today on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, welcome on back. So, I'll tell you what, market's down today. Everything's down. Crypto took a huge hit. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Hopefully, a bounce back up before we talk about it. But nonetheless, it's been a down day across the whole board. Crypto, the major indices, you name it. So that doesn't mean that we can't make money, right? I mean, hey, Skip in the chat board, Dino Skip wrote, hello, ALF from outer space, right? And I got GoGo on the screen here. So, hey, I'll start off on this stock, but we'll go right to the ALF trade right away after. There were a couple of nice pops that we ended up catching, and if not pops, then perhaps some bounces that we took from the late morning, early afternoon that led to some nice runs up. So, again, it's to say that just because the market's down doesn't mean that we can't, find some opportunities on the way up. So, hey, look at it right now. GoGo making a new high of the day right now as we speak. So right away, I'll put this stock on our afternoon list to begin. It was a stock that we were watching not on the morning watch list, but shortly after the open. As you can see, stock ended up making a big pop, ended up consolidating for a while thereafter under 15. But eventually, once it broke over 15, it essentially used it as support to propel it up to where it's at now. So right now, I'm more interested in two things. Number one would be, really first would be level 3, looking at the ECN books or otherwise even level 4, as I'll type it up there now. But otherwise, I'm finding the answer to this question now. If there's any overhead resistance, or if there's not, maybe this is all-time highs. But you can see this stock hit a high back from late January, right around 1570. Let's see, 1723. That's the high, $17.23. That was the last peak, the last high back from January 27th. Take a look on the weekly chart or monthly chart, perhaps otherwise. And yeah, prior to that, it's been a long while since it's been around these prices, but dating back to early 2015, late 2014, the stock was chopping around 15, 20 bucks. So not nearly close to all-time highs as we had thought just by looking at the 1 minute chart there. But obviously having a really good day, the go-go stock. So we'll put this on our list to begin. All right, so Skip just wrote before, hello, ALF from outer space. Skip, if you don't mind, what are you still in this trade? And if so, what's your price? Where are you in from? I'm currently in this position on 500 shares. I closed out half my position just before this meeting started. I'm in from $8.25. I took like 20 cents off the table on 500 shares, letting the other half ride. Oh, he says ALF. ALF is a character from TV. A little above my head there, but nonetheless, either way, this stock has taken off into orbit, into outer space, at least dating back to late June, early July, as Fausto had commented on earlier this morning. But, it's what I'll say here. It follows up to what I always say. It's that if we happen to see a stock like ALF make a big run up as we had back in late June, early July, and honestly, I'll guarantee this, folks, and I don't expect anyone to put in this effort. But if you go back on previous afternoon meetings I did back in late June, early July, we talked about this run. I said it then, as I'll say here, if we can try and even just get a fraction of this type of run up, or the run up that we had back from late June, early July, if we can get a fraction of that type of run up here this morning, I'll gladly take it. And that's practically what had happened today. Now, the stock ended up making a nice slingshot from $7.60 as soon as the market opened up. It ended up getting a little choppy above 8. If anything, it was like $8.10 that led to a real breakout level, and essentially used it as support just before. Now, I'm in this trade from the next 10-cent level above that. Essentially, I chased it, but in from around 820, or in from 827. I got in above 820 itself. But yeah, for right now, this stock also, alongside the go-go stock, will put this on the afternoon watch list. I had overhead resistance ahead also. It hit it right on the nose at 870, the high of the day. I have a line there from my pre-market charting. So that's a little bit of a concern. That's what led me to take half my position out. But nonetheless, if this can keep going and maintain its trend, I wouldn't be shocked if we end up seeing 9 by the end of the day. So we'll see. We'll put the stock on our list also here. All right. So I'll tell you what, we'll keep things simple. We'll go right from top to bottom. Otherwise, we'll talk about the SNOA trade. We'll talk about the DAT stock here in just a bit. So let's go to, well, that's the warrants, SNOA. So I wanted to talk about this here very quickly, and I was looking to do that in Traders Talk, our weekly Q&A workshop that we host right in Cyber Group every Tuesday. For any one of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, we've actually done that a few weeks ago for you folks. It's on our YouTube channel, or otherwise you feel more than free to join us live inside our trading room by going right down to the link on the banner below the stream. But what I want to talk about here, history has a tendency to repeat itself. Look at all of the big red candles on the daily chart, or bars, whatever. It's to say that this stock has come out with news, you know, quite frequently over the last year and a half. And all those big red candles or bars are days where they've come out with news in pre-market or from the after hours the day before. And, by the time the market opens up, it just dumps off. So if history has a tendency to repeat itself, then I wouldn't be nearly as interested in this trade at the market open. Maybe, just maybe, the stock would have found some support and for a squeeze back up over time, but clearly that is not the case. As you could see right now, only continuing to break lower here, or it seems to be. All right, so we'll keep it going otherwise. The DAT stock, DATS, that seems to be a short squeeze too. The warrants are number 3. The actual equity is number 10. We'll get to that also coming up pretty shortly. ABVC, my first look at this stock right now, ended up making a nice run up earlier in the afternoon, but I say it all the time here also, when the volume dies off on the stock, when the volume traded per minute just drops off very sharply, unfortunately, so does the stock. I mean, honestly, I'll just jump right ahead to the ANY stock from yesterday afternoon at 2:30 Eastern time. The stock ended up making a big pop, got halted on the way up off of news. I think Elon Musk in relation to it. So obviously a huge name. You would hope to see the stock make a really nice run. But look at the volume. Look at the volume traded per minute, and especially once support broke a bit later on prior to 3 p.m. Eastern, it only continued dropping off, right? It traded in a tighter range perhaps, but gradually just continued to decline. So unfortunately, the same was to be said, at least, or the same could be said on the ABVC stock here. Notice the run up, failed to break higher. The volume totally waned down. So, listen, it's up 27%. It's a cheapie. But right now, I got to see a lot more out of the stock for me to put this on our watch list so far. A little bit pricier here. UNFI ended up making a nice pop up earlier today, and it's at the highs right now. If it's at all-time highs, then I'll definitely be more inclined to put it on our list. Not at all-time highs. Looks like all-time high was around the 80s plus, back from 2015. Stock seems to be right around historical resistance, maybe a few points away. Maybe on a swing trade, this could be an interesting level to watch here, right under 50, if not 50, perhaps the combination between 50 and just 49. That range of resistance here from the monthly chart, you could just see holding really well. I'm not as inclined to put this on our watch list as a day trade for this afternoon, just given the price. I mean, I like that it's at the highs, but this could be an interesting scenario for a swing trade to see this continue to squeeze up over time, get closer to the 49 to 50 range, and then drop off. This Plag stock, PLAG, this one dropping off going into the market open. I was more keen to follow the others, at least, early on. Oh no, I see ALF at 835. Did I get stopped out? It took me out. All right, I ended up taking 10 cents on the other half of my position, but I'd rather not be a jerk and not set a stop on this trade, only to go through this meeting, come back to it, and to have it down at 780. So, it stinks. I just got stopped out on the second half of my position here, but nonetheless, I took 10 cents on it, or 8 cents on it even. I was in from 827. So still going to keep this on our list. Hopefully this makes, hopeful that this can make one more squeeze back up. And if so, I'll be all over it. But for right now, the DAT stock still seems to be pretty strong here. Watch, I'll jinx that too. No, for right now, though, this stock I don't think is running up off of any given news. I know that one of our gold students, Christopher M., made some post in the trading room, or not some post, he posted a link from Seeking Alpha, but it wasn't really like a news report. It was more of like a blog, an opinion about the company. It's saying that it's overvalued by 70% with no revenue. So, perhaps this will come crashing back down very soon, but nonetheless, that shouldn't deter anyone from trying to day trade this stock. The stock breaking all-time highs, not only today, but day over the last week or so straight. So yeah, for right now, I'll put this on our list. Be very careful trading it. It's not an easy stock to trade, as you can see right now. I'm beginning to drop off here from that 1375 price or 1370 price. But yeah, for right now, we'll see if this can make another run back up too. All right, so we'll keep it going. A little disappointed there on the ALF, but that's fine. Market was down today and perhaps making a lower high or double top here to pull back down. And if so, then I would expect the inverse ETFs like UVXY, VXX, etc., to move counter to what the indices are doing and what the S&P ETF here, the SPY, is doing. I'm not as interested in trading ETFs right now anyway, so I'm gonna pass on them. But if you tend to follow them more than us here in our room, then perhaps that could be an interesting idea. I'll tell you what, CEI, we talked about this earlier in the Traders Talk workshop. We did the full A to Z review on the stock, at least from what had happened upon the market opening up. And in fact, actually, we talked about this big crash also, right? We had talked about how yesterday's closing bell print price, and it crashed much below that price, but it was right off of $2.72. Once it broke under that price and right back above that price, it led to a really nice slingshot, good for just about 50 cents. Like for a $3 stock, that's insane. So I'm a little reluctant putting this on our watch list for the same reasons that I was reluctant on trading the stock upon the market opening up. And I'll tell you what, I missed a huge opportunity, right? I mean, I didn't trade this at 9:30. I felt that I missed it from 3 and I didn't really look back, and it moved all the way up towards like 344. So I'd be remiss to not put this on our watch list because I'd missed out earlier today. The only gripe that I have on it is the fact that it's traded a lot of volume today. I mean, over half a billion shares, 619 and counting million shares. And then otherwise, I mean, again, we had talked about this from earlier today. The stock opened up from Thursday last week at 158. Now it's at 315. I mean, granted, we see stocks make 100+% moves in the course of one day, let alone four, but and again, I don't say this to anyone here, more myself than anything, but we can't get spoiled with these types of moves, right? Eventually this thing is going to come crashing back down. I like the way that this is squeezing up for us right now, so we'll do it. We'll put it back on our list here, the CEI. Just be careful though of a false breakout because, like I just said, given how much the stock had moved up over the last 3-4 days, being there at the right place just at the wrong time could be very costly. All right, keep the train moving. ONDS looks like this is trying to squeak back up for right now. It's trading not really a whole lot of volume per minute, so not too particular about it. Fausto was all over this TMP trade upon the market open today. Ended up making a sharp pop up, but he had even pointed this out himself. When the volume dies off on these stocks, when it's trading very thin volume, that makes it even more dangerous. So, um, ended up consolidating right under 1050. I guess it broke higher here, but just ugly after. All right, so here's Corey's call out. Corey S., one of our trial members, joining us live inside Cyber Group today. He had called out previous to this afternoon meeting starting the AIKI trade off of 90, and obviously now it's beginning to break above it. So, hey, it's a cheapie. We normally don't trade these, cheapies below a buck because normally they don't make as concise of a move. But for right now, this seems to be. So we'll put this on our list here. The AIKI. Good call from Corey S. All right. Dogs, not much going on there. SNMP, I don't know, 132 is like that's like pre-market prices. All right, folks, that's just about all I got on the gainer side. I mean, I wouldn't expect much on the gainer side with how much the market dropped off today. So let's hop over to the losers side here, and I'll tell you a stock that's missing from the top of the losers list. And actually, I'll jump to it right now because God knows where it's at right now. Oh, not APT. I'm sorry. Not APT. ALT. Look at this stock. Ended up getting crushed this morning off of bad pharma news. I think bad phase 1 clinical trial news. I don't know what drug or what it's treating for, but it was down big. I mean, not down as much as we've seen other companies over the last 2 weeks, given bad FDA news for their drugs or bad news regarding their phase 2 trial. Perhaps I think the stock I'm thinking about is the PTGX stock. Got clipped last week. That never really made a big bounce back. So on the ALT trade, man, this thing ended up making a hell of a dead cat bounce. Popped as soon as the market opened up. When it drops back down, though, you would anticipate for it to eventually break lower. Man, this just held perfectly right over 11 and then bounced up perfectly from that point. Made nearly a 3-point move. And then, for right now, it's just so flat. I'm not as keen to put it on our list just yet. That's the last 2 words there. Keep in mind, because if this ends up beginning to show more signs of life on the way up, then I'll be more interested on it. It is hard to borrow, or I'm sorry, sorry about that. It's easy to borrow. It is shortable. So if this does crap out the other way, perhaps that would be the more interesting play. Uh, for right now, I'll pass on it just altogether. But if you did well on the stock earlier today, I would have no doubts that you would be watching this at least heading into the final 75 minutes here. All right, so we'll see what else is on the loser side, though. I mean, a whole bunch of crap hard to borrow, so we can't really short those like we can the ALT. EXPI down big, also pretty expensive. So, I mean, yeah, Novavax getting crushed. INMD, both really expensive. All right. Like I said, Bitcoin and crypto took a hit, of course, with the markets altogether. BTCM down 8.67%. Not a whole lot happening now. All right, folks, let me know if there's anything else that you would want me to check out, up, down, left, right, because that's all I got for you here. Let's see, from Deborah M. She says still has 100 shares of DATS from 368. I read somewhere that it's supposed to grow into the next Facebook. Well, congratulations, Deborah. I mean, hey, smaller position size, but that's why we hold on to a smaller position just to see if it could happen, and that paid off. Excellent. Jumping back to YouTube, Facebook Live today. No chats. Got a bunch of us joining us on social media today, which I always appreciate. I'll tell you what, we don't need to force any stocks on our watch list. That's for sure. So if we touched them all, it's fun. APRE is the one I was going to bring up here from Benzinga Pro at the end. It's the only stock I was going to bring up, and it actually looks pretty good. So APRE is up 9+%. Broke over 5 just a moment ago, trading a whole lot of volume off the highs there. I mean, really above 5. 503, 505, even 491. That seemed to have been a pretty big level. I mean, perhaps from consolidation just before. So we'll see what happens on this APRE. I like this so far. And the reason why I like it even more than anything, folks, and if you're familiar with this stock, then you would know, but I don't expect most of us to be. It's just for me to say. It's like, I'm here all week. So this APRE stock ended up taking a huge hit going back into the end of 2020. And if anything, I think it was a natural gap. I was trying to look cool by going to the monthly chart there, but on the daily, I think it shows a legit gap. Yeah, look at that. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So those types of moves, like, if you're here day to day, minute by minute, like I am, and not everyone is, it's just to say that that's the type of things that you remember. So APRE, if this doesn't make this huge run up to try and fill the gap today, then obviously I'll still be interested in it come tomorrow morning at least. So definitely for right now, this APRE trade we'll put on our list. Looking really strong so far. This high back from, what the hell is it? December 28th. 2020. That was at $6.77. Just a little fun we'll have right now. A little fun we'll have. 677. Ended up holding pretty nicely here. But otherwise, I guess on this day, it was more of a pre-market move up, and then it fell right back below that line. And since hasn't really even tried to come back. So, hey, perhaps this could be the beginnings of a nice day-to-day run. I don't know that for sure. Don't take that as swing trading advice, folks. But looks like for right now, this stock is looking pretty good for us heading into this afternoon. All right, so I think in total, folks, we got 2, we got 4, we got 6 stocks to work with here heading into the market close, and that's perfect. I don't like to put too many stocks on our lists to begin with, so I think that we're good. All right, so for all of us in social media, Facebook Live and YouTube, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every day, each and every afternoon. If you're interested in joining us here for the final hour and 10 minutes of commentary live inside our trading room, as I said before, feel more than free to by going right down to the link on the banner below just to get yourself started on a week-long trial with us. But otherwise, for all of us there right now, William, Deborah, Nancy, my guy Dino Skip there in the chat board, got John, James, all of us otherwise, I look forward to speaking to you folks coming up pretty shortly from now. Take care.